What is going on, No Horsing Around family? Zach Boyd back at it again. I am one of two hosts, one of two dudes back at it again with the No Horsing Around podcast. Guys, I've been off for a little bit. Had a kind of a family deal going on. My grandmother had passed away, so we haven't been able to put out as much content as we'd like here recently, but we're kind of through that and past that, ready to talk Colts football, ready to talk Colts draft. Mock 1.0. Plan on doing this once a week as we get up to the draft. Probably get a little bit more serious about it as it goes on. So we'll just highlight a player as it goes. And I think that, everyone wants to talk about that wide receiver position. So I'll preface by saying this. I would not be shocked at all if, Chris Ballard goes out there and still gets a tackle, depending on who falls in the second. I think there's going to be a huge run on wide receivers, like a massive, massive run, especially on the back end of that first round and in the beginning of the second round. But right now, as we've got it slated, as I've kind of checked it out, I did my mock on Pro Football Focus this morning, kind of leading me up to this decision. I think George Pickens is a guy who makes a lot of sense. And I know I've heard some people mention his name. Incredible catch rate in college football. We didn't see a huge sample size, but the guy dropped 2 footballs in college. I mean, he catches just about everything. He plucks it straight out of the sky. Great athlete, long, physical, can win at all 3 levels. He would be a guy that I would think that would be a Chris Ballard-ish guy if we decide to go that route. Who knows? I mean, a lot of people love Sky Moore. A lot of people love Christian Watson. A lot of people love all of these different, guys. But I think that at the end of the day, I think there's so many wide receivers taken in the top 40. Honestly, I think it's a really good class. I think there's a lot of value. Once you get past those first couple 2 tiers, there's still some value. It's probably 12 wide receivers. I mean, when you think about, you've obviously got Drake London, who will be far gone by it's time to pick. You think about, you got a guy like, Garrett Wilson. I like Olave every bit as much as Wilson personally. I just like his smooth route. I like Olave's smooth route running and his ability to just break it. I really, really like that. Treylon Burks is in and out on everybody's list. I mean, he's either hot or he's not. Had a terrible combine, but he's still kind of a freak athlete. He's kind of a guy that you can throw the football to and just make something happen. Really, if you think about it, without being the blazer as far as speed goes, he's a lot like what they wanted with Paris Campbell. Who knows? Maybe he slips and falls. He's a really, really good athlete, a very sturdy player. My favorite wide receiver, like my dream would be like a Sky Moore, completely anti Chris Ballard. He's not tall. He's not what Chris normally goes towards. But I would say that Sky Moore would be my dream, but I think he's gone. I think once Kansas City gets around, and if he's not been taken yet, you look at Kansas City and you look at Green Bay, 2 teams who are going to have multiple picks and probably going to pluck a guy like that. I mean, he is super, super reliable, talented, small school, but he wins on every route. He wins at all levels. He catches everything thrown to him. But that being said, I think realistically Pickens could fall to us in this area. I don't like with the pick that we have, I should say, unless we would trade back. I don't like the other guys quite that high in the draft. Like, you talk about a Justin Tolbert, who is a little bit back on that list a little bit. Still some things that you could like. Alec Pierce, I'm not as big on Alec out of Cincinnati as everybody else is, just because I feel like he's just a one-trick pony, man. I mean, he just wants to go out there and just outrun everybody, and that can't happen in the NFL. You got to be able to win underneath. He was clearly the best receiver on a really bad football or a really bad wide receiver core. Cincinnati was a good football team. They didn't have great receivers outside of him, but it was the deep ball. But when you want to look at something, you want to play devil's advocate. I mean, he beat Alabama cornerbacks when he went against them. He just didn't get the ball. I would say that when we look at this, wide receiver is going to be what we want, but we all know that Chris Ballard has a way of doing things differently, right? Like will we even pick that pick? Will Ballard trade back? I want to get you guys' input on that. We're going to trade back. We're going to trade up. We're going to stay pat. Who's your favorite wide receiver? I'm going to go probably a little bit more Sky Moore than Watson, although I think if Watson's there, I don't see any way in the world that Ballard passes on him because he loves senior day guys, right? Like this guy went to the Senior Bowl. He killed it. He's got great length. He's got great speed. Ballard's never had a problem with people who drop the football, and that's kind of his only knock, that he's dropped a few football. He's a little bit of a body catcher and not quite a hands catcher, but still a supreme talent. I'm not sure Watson falls quite that far. We're in a weird position because we're so close to getting somebody who's just an electric talent. But you really feel like we're 5, 6, 7 picks away from that actually happening, getting one of those guys. I mean, when you talk about getting, we talked about Drake London, Garrett Wilson. We talked about Olave. We talked about Burks. We talked about, Sky Moore, Watson, those guys there. I just think they go. And I think they go a little bit quicker. You've always got a guy who rises. You had Jalen Reagor, a couple years back, who just flew up those draft boards in that last week. I expect that to be Sky Moore this year or Christian Watson. So I'm going to go with, for now, George Pickens until things kind of changes. And then we'll just see what goes. But you guys light us up in the comments. Thank you for joining in the show. Like, rate, review, share, subscribe. If you haven't joined the No Horsing Around family, we invite you to join the family. More to come. And guys, thanks so much for all your support.